was born in 2002. It was after the Twin Towers had fallen and just as the Iraq War was about to begin. I'm a part of Generation Z, or as some people call us, Zoomers. The oldest of us are running for Congress, and the youngest are still in school. Our generation was born between 1997 and 2012. And if there's one thing you know about us, it's probably this.
Gen Z has never known a world without the internet in their pocket.
Our parents, who are mostly Gen X, don't really understand what we do on our phones. And boomers? Well...
Okay, boomer.
But one thing that I want to make clear is we're not just posting dance videos. We've started political movements from our bedrooms and created companies and built websites that changed the world while we are still in high school. We are the most diverse generation ever, and 20% of us proudly identify as LGBTQ+. We're growing up with legal weed, and we're not afraid to smoke it, or vape it, or make money from it. We're not all rushing to get our driver's licenses because we don't need them. Some people say we're delaying growing up, and I don't know, maybe they're right. But it's not totally our fault. If it feels like more people have come out as LGBTQ+ today, it's because they have. 1 in 5 Gen Zers say they are something other than heterosexual, and 1 in 20 identify as transgender and non-binary. The question the older generations want to know is, why? A week and a half after the so-called heartbeat bill became law in Texas, 18-year-old Paxton Smith, before Roe v. Wade was overturned, other young women like Paxton spoke out for reproductive justice. Deja Fox was only 16 when she publicly challenged her then-Senator Jeff Flake after he voted against Planned Parenthood funding. Olivia punched back online and raised more than $2 million for abortion access funds through the organization Gen Z for Change. Months before the coronavirus locked down this country, Avi Schiffman, a high school junior, had heard news reports about a mysterious virus on the other side of the world and decided to track it. Avi's pandemic tracker became one of the most popular coronavirus websites in the world. It won him several awards, including the Webby Person of the Year, presented, virtually of course, by Dr. Fauci himself. Avi's site helped track the spread of COVID around the globe. And in real time, we all saw that the coronavirus was not going away. The world shut down, and our isolation stretched from weeks to months to school years. The grief we felt was real. For those of us who graduated high school and college in 2020 and 2021, life was put on hold. In 2016, less than a year after Max's transition, the anti-trans backlash exploded in America. In Texas, Attorney General Ken Paxton announced that he was suing the Obama administration. So Amber Briggle responded by inviting him to dinner. But it wasn't just Texas. Almost 24 states passed laws targeting LGBTQ+ kids. Despite Xander's protest, Governor DeSantis signed the bill into law in March 2022. Xander sued the state of Florida. He was one of the youngest public plaintiffs in the federal case against Governor DeSantis. As high school class president, Xander would give a graduation speech, but his principal warned him that if he mentioned his activism, they would cut his mic. So instead, Xander talked about this. In the past decade, we've seen a culture war sweep the nation. From speech to books to education. School boards and teachers are under fire from the left and the right. Like my entire generation, I've grown up with social media, and I know that what I put online can have consequences. What's scary is that people's lives can be destroyed by a single post. High school students have had their college admissions rescinded because of their social media posts. Posts that were sometimes made years ago. When my generation arrived on college campuses, cancel culture moved from the internet to the classroom. These videos of students confronting their professors became part of the story, fueling the fire that was burning on campus. If you really want to understand my generation, just spend some time on TikTok. In 2021, she became the first Gen Zer elected to the New York City Council. And a year later in Florida, Maxwell Frost became the first member of my generation to be elected to Congress.
Hi, my name is Jenna and I'm 7 years old. Right now, I'm going to show you my dramatic monologue. Mom, are you awake?
Yep, that's me. My mom shot this video and put it on Facebook for her friends, and they loved it. Somehow, it eventually made its way to a casting agent, and the rest is history.
Can you count down from 50?
Like many Gen Zers, you could say that my career was also launched online. For Jacob Pace, his start didn't even require a camera. When he was 14, he started a record label. He signed his first artist in 9th grade. Then came the big offer, to be head of marketing at a music company. With Flight House, Jacob built Gen Z's version of MTV, short videos with millions of young people watching. It's not just the entertainment industry that's been completely transformed by the internet. Our generation is finding its voice online, and it's being heard all the way to the White House. In May 2020, months into our COVID quarantine, another police killing of an unarmed black man was captured on video. 17-year-old Darnella Frazier, who was standing across the street, filmed the murder of George Floyd on her iPhone. In the days following George Floyd's death, protests erupted across America and around the world. We felt it everywhere. The Black Lives Matter movement spread from corporate America to the entertainment industry. In 2012, America watched in horror after 20 children were murdered in Sandy Hook, Connecticut. After every shooting, we saw the same pattern. Outrage, followed by thoughts and prayers, followed by nothing. But after one school shooting in particular, the students refused to be part of the same pattern. It took place on Valentine's Day 2018, and it defined our generation. In 2012, Colorado became the first state to legalize recreational marijuana. It was a turning point in America's somewhat sus relationship with weed. Since then, a lot of other states have passed similar laws. It's never been easier in America to get stoned legally. For baby boomers, weed was part of the counterculture. But the old stoner stigma no longer exists. Legalization changed everything, and our generation saw an opportunity. And experts say it will continue to grow. A lot. The American cannabis industry is likely to be a $100 billion industry by 2030. The pandemic isolated us during some of our most formative years. We missed out on homecomings and proms, graduations, all kinds of milestones. We attended school through a computer screen, but when we did go to school, we practiced active shooter drills. And too many of us experienced the real thing. The issues that we face as a generation are broad, but we see them as interconnected. We believe the fights for social justice, reproductive rights, and ending gun violence are far from over. And the threat of the climate crisis unites us all. We inherited a deeply polarized world, but we're determined to fix it. We are more connected, more engaged, and becoming more politically active than any other generation in American history. And we're just getting started. The youngest Gen Zers won't turn 18 until 2030. So it's impossible to know what else and who else will shape our generation. What we do know is that careers can be launched and movements can rise at the speed of social media. We grew up with the entire world at our fingertips, documenting every moment, discovering ourselves together online. We believe in speaking truth to power, and our megaphone isn't always the kind you shout into. Your generations built the world we all live in, but where we take it from here is up to us.